Yo, it's ODB from OLP. Thank you so much for coming back. If you're a new viewer, please consider subscribing. We talk a lot about mini trucks and so much more, but one thing I've always been passionate about are BMX and freestyle bikes. I grew up in just arguably the golden era. This year, Mongoose is celebrating their 50th anniversary. They started way back in '74, which is amazing. I've had the big homie Sean from Rad BMX Builds on now a couple of times. And as I've always said, he's definitely inspiring me to kind of get out and finally wrench on some of my bikes. If you haven't already, check out his channel, Rad BMX Builds. It's that simple. He's a great dude, almost 3 decades of service to the US of A. So thank you again, Sean, and I appreciate all of the continued motivation. So let's jump right into this. I'm gonna unbox something I recently picked up, and then I'm gonna show you what I'm working on. I'll keep this video as short as I can. And again, thank you for the continued support. Just got home from work and this box came. I went ahead and cut it with not a blade. If you can see here, they suggest not cutting this with a blade. That's definitely smart. I'm sure they've had either complaints or people trying to get free stuff or not realizing what they were cutting open. But I took some time recently and I ordered a couple things, and this is one of them, one pair. I ordered 2 tires, Kenda, K-E-N-D-A, and if you haven't bought bike tires in a long time, man, these things are not cheap. Obviously, nothing's cheap these days, including manufacturing. But I searched eBay. I looked a little bit on Amazon. There wasn't much there, but I went to the Old Faithful, which is Pork Chop. If you just Google Pork Chop BMX, it might be porkchopbmx.com. But you can find that they have a lot of cool stuff, and I was able to pick these tires up for a project that I'm working on that I'm going to show you here. And again, super simple. You just go out to their website. And again, if you haven't ordered tires in a while, you might be surprised at how much these things are. They're not going to break the bank, so to speak, but they're not super cheap. And unless you have a bike store around you, you're not going to be able to find these probably in your neck of the woods. The other cool thing was they do offer free shipping on X amount. I forget if it was $75 or $100. There was some sort of deal on there. They were very clear that if you didn't have that amount in your cart to check out, you weren't going to get free shipping. So what I ended up doing was I ordered the 2 tires, but I also ordered one other item. This put me over whatever that threshold was to get the free shipping. And a lot of times I look at that because let's say shipping and handling is going to be $10 or $15, maybe more, and you're looking at buying a $45 item. You're only spending $30 more, and you're getting free shipping, and you're getting something else you need. Speaking of something else I need, again, Pork Chop BMX, they threw some stickers in here. I needed a seat, and I picked one of these up. I've been, for years, wanting this kind of on a list of just, I'll get to it eventually. I've got Lincolns, I've got mini trucks, things I really love. The bikes were always kind of, hanging up, and I was like, I'll get to them one day. But what I ended up doing is picking up a seat that I'm going to show you now, and then I'll show you what I'm working on, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'm a sticker junkie, and what we can see here, Pork Chop BMX, pretty cool. And then the other sticker here, so I'll find a good place for those. I have been sticking some stickers around, including my display case and a few other things. I hung up some other hubcaps, got a few Chevy things hung up in here. So I've been doing a little bit of house cleaning, so to speak. And then boom, a beautiful seat here. Now I think that if I remember correctly, they said this does not come with the guts. So you got to be careful when you're ordering this stuff. If you need the kind of the guts, if you will, in here, you can pick that stuff up, but typically it's not going to be included depending on what the description is. So what I ended up doing was I picked up the 2 tires, the seat, simple, got a couple free stickers. Now I'll show you what I'm working on here, which is an FS-1 Mongoose. It's a bike that I've always wanted. So let me show you this now. Now I bought this bike many years ago, And it's a bike that brings me back to my childhood. I rode a Mongoose as a child, and I believe I cannot remember the bike I had, my third bike, which was my first new bike, was a freestyle bike. I think it was a Schwinn bike. But this in the era of the 80s brings me back because I used to look at the catalogs. I'd go to, some of the bike shops that were around. There weren't many, but there were a couple that my dad would take me to. And this just brings me back to a great era. Now, one thing about this bike is it is freaking heavy. So it's crazy how heavy these bikes were or are. This thing is totally, for the most part, original, except for two things that drove me crazy. Number one, these tires. From the moment I picked this bike up, I knew it had the wrong tires on it. Now, I'm not a purist when it comes to, 100% authenticity. These, of course, probably weren't the exact tires that came on this bike, but I didn't care. Number one, I wanted basically just a white tire. And if you look back at the catalogs, from what I could see, they came with white tires. Of course, the white's going to really pop a little bit, I think, with these OG decals and kind of this patina, if you will. It's going to make it look a lot better. In addition to that, the other thing that drove me crazy was this seat. So this seat, obviously, even if you're not super into this stuff, you can tell it is not accurate. It's not correct. And if I remember correctly, I did not put this seat on there. I'm pretty sure this is the seat that came on it. I did have another bike that I swapped a seat, but I don't think it was this one. This thing drove me crazy. I did add this one day just kind of for fun. But what I'm going to end up doing with it is, of course, swapping this. So that's going to look a lot better on there. And let me know what you think. My intention was never to do a full restoration on this bike. I kind of want to leave it a patina bike. I do want to get do new grips. So this one is here. Kind of zoom in there. I'm going to leave it the patina color, I think. Let me know what you think, or should I powder coat it? You can see there, for the most part, it is original. And I did have a friend, Chris Wilk, if he happens to ever see this. He hooked me up years ago. He had a huge collection, and he actually gave me this guy here, the peg. It was missing that. And the kid that I bought it from years ago, he gave me a great deal on it. Actually knocked $25 off. I got there to buy it, and he goes, well, how about this? And it was the only thing I think I've ever bought that someone knocked money off what I was getting ready to pay them. But he had said that he had the other peg somewhere, and I messaged him for several months. He probably got sick of me every once in a blue moon asking him, but ended up getting another peg, so I was stoked about that. The other thing that I got to do that drives me crazy is, I don't know why anybody would do this, is it's kind of hard to see here. It has black brake pads on it. What does that do to a nice Skyway mag? Black, okay? The other thing is, if you look here, look at how nasty these are, okay? I've debated whether I'm going to bleach them. I bleached another set that I got OG from Miami years ago, and it had a great outcome on there. But you can see with all that nasty grease, I want to redo the bearings. And more than likely, and this is what I want you guys to chime in, should I leave the black and kind of leave it as a patina OG survivor, one of my favorite words, I will survive, or do you think, do you change the brake pads to white and leave it as is and kind of leave it with that patina? Lastly, of course, if I end up doing the grips, which again, it needs a grip. If not, I mean, this thing looks pretty ratty, which I like. But you can see here, it really needs new brake lines, which I was intending to do and get this bad boy set back up. So, let me know what you think. Leave it as is or fully restore it. I've got a couple things, the seat, the tires. That's the extent I was going to do. So, let me know what you think. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate it. There's going to be a lot more content coming this year. And oh, by the way, don't forget OLP, our lifestyle podcast. We were the first podcast centered around the mini truck scene. I talk a lot about the history. You can search OLP via almost any podcast app. And I really appreciate all the support for those that have been listening for years and those that are new listeners. Thanks, Pork Chop. I bought all this stuff. There was nothing given to me for this project, but I hope to do more in the future. And stay on the rise, everyone. We out here.